This is perhaps a little bit different to what I normally do. And it's really setting out some key themes for the forthcoming book, which is called The Living Soul. And I'll go into a bit more about that soon. So yeah, thank you for joining. So it's really all about the book, the key themes, and how it will fit with the app. And I'm just going to take you on a little bit of a journey as part of that. But there's opportunity for you to ask questions as well as part of that too. So it's all pretty informal, pretty relaxed. It is being recorded, and I'll make it available on the app, but also on YouTube and probably Facebook as well. So, okay, so let's get right. Can you all see that? Yeah, okay, good. So let's move on. Just want to start off with a couple of questions for you. Maybe just close your eyes for a moment and just reflect upon or be with, why are you here today? Why are you here today? If something comes for you, that's great. If not, don't worry. And then, if your eyes are still closed, why are you here in this life? Why are you here in this life? And you can open your eyes now whenever suits you. And if anybody wants to share anything, just pop that in the chat. Just put that in the chat. Did anything come for you on either of those two questions? Because they're pretty fundamental questions, particularly the second one, obviously. Why are you here in this life? Well, let's just see if anybody said anything. Excuse me. To reconnect to the source here for experiences is Katie. To truly see, Tara. Deepen life, says Heather. It feels right to be here, says Julia. It feels right to be here, to find peace. Good. Excellent. Okay, good. So thanks for sharing those. Because the reason I ask those questions, the questions that we might try and avoid and that philosophers and so forth may have been trying to answer for a long time. But really, when it boils down to it, the whole process of self-realization, enlightenment, non-duality, or whatever you want to call it, and it has people have given it many names, is all about resolving the answer, not only to that first question, but to the second question in particular. Let me just see what Marthese said. I'm here. I am a soul who is working towards my path to learn about who I am and finding peace. Good. So we've had a few references to peace there. And the whole thing about the book, the sharing that I make, is all about the resolution of those questions. And they're not nearly so complicated or difficult as life experiences or what you may have been taught by society or school or whatever to resolve, as many people over a long period of time have thought or pretended to be. They're really, actually, it's really profoundly simple. And the book, the app, the sharing is all about that. So why this book? Why did this book come about, The Living Soul? Well, actually, just to give you a bit of background, some of you may know this. I don't think I've talked about this very much. Some of you may not. But actually, what evolved is in 2011, 2012, I can't remember the exact year now, in a deep meditative space, suddenly the words emerged in that same space. Will you write this book, The Living Soul? It felt like it came from a very, very deep place within, like an invitation or a calling. Will you write this book, The Living Soul? And it wasn't like a mental answer that came, but it was an inner yes, an inner knowing, an inner confirmation that this would be written. And you might reasonably ask, well, we're now in 2026, why has it taken 14 or 15 years? And the answer to that is very simple, actually, is that in all that time and in all that experience of sharing the message of self-realization, what it's allowed to do with lots of experience in lots of formats, whether it be online, in person, many different places, both UK and overseas, is that it's brought it all into a deep clarity. And on the right-hand side of the little slide there, I've summarized for you what it is that the book does. It's all in there in all the sharing, the many videos and so forth that I've shared over time and in retreats and so forth. But the book, a book in particular, having written one now, brings about an opportunity to really set down the things I've set out on the right-hand side of the slide there. The core principles of the first half of the book is dedicated to what I don't sort of use that term necessarily in the book itself, but it's the core principles. What is it that one really needs to understand, be aware of, come to see, to grasp about life, self-realization, and so forth. And that's done in a way to not to teach you anything at all. In fact, I state, as I've stated many times on videos and state clearly in the book, it's not about believing anything that I say about this. It's about becoming a direct realization, a direct realization. And that's why the second point there is empowers you. It's about this emerging from within. And so the book represents opening to that clarity within. And it's a distillation, really, of a 14 or 15-year journey of sharing. And many people, when it comes to self-realization, inner peace, enlightenment, whatever label you want to call it, they're always looking for really the how to. How do I find, realize, come to know this experience of self-realization, inner peace, whatever. And so I've put the how to there, but you'll notice I've put some single inverted commas there. And there's a good reason for that, because although I talk about meditation and inquiry and so forth in the book, and extensively, as many of you will know, on the retreats, the app, and so forth, ultimately, you're going to see, it's going to be realized that that which you have been seeking is already that which you are. And so the how-to part is about what is it that meditation and inquiry, two sides of the same coin, what their purpose is and how they open you to that. So that's a key element that I'm covering there. Another key, very important point that comes up often when people have profound spiritual experiences is, integrating that into your life. So that's covered too, because it's profoundly important, because people can have these glimpses, these seeings, these monumental experiences, and then fall back into suffering. And so integration, embracing that within your life is very, very, very important. And then the whole second half of the book is really the major chunk of that. There are lots of questions in an organic dialogue, many questions. It's a distillation, a summary of thousands of questions I've been asked over that period since 2011. And it may at first look like their answers, but really what they're pointing to, and the whole purpose of the message I've been sharing, and many others have shared and continue to share, is that it points to the fact that actually already within. So there isn't actually anything for you to learn. It's only for you to realize. Only for you to realize. So when you have an aha moment, a seeing, a moment of clarity, it's not because Philip has taught you anything. It's because it was already known inside. And one of the examples I often give with that is, when Einstein came up with the theories of relativity, general and special relativity, he didn't create really the theory. What really happened was a realization, a seeing, a deeper clarity than anyone else had had up to that point about how the universe works. And now you may think that that only relates to the physical domain, but interesting that he called it the theory of relativity. Relativity. Because we live in a relative domain. And we're all in relationship to each other, but also something much more profoundly deeper. And that's the absolute, the essence, the source, the truth of who we really are. So that knowing or clarity about another aspect of the universe came to Einstein. And in the same way, the realization of the self is here for us all. And that's ultimately the answer to the question, two, why are you here in this life? It's to realize that. And you don't need to believe me on that, because when it's seen, when it becomes clear, it will be self, true self, evident. True self, evident. So that all of that, if you like, came in a burst in 2011-12, and then has been shared in multiple ways since. And then this book is like the universe is calling to capture it. And it's got the name of Philip Wade on there, but really, really, it's not Philip that's written it. Yes, of course, there is this body-mind experience of Philip, for sure. But it's really from the universe itself. It was not Philip's plan to write a book about self-realization, but the universe chose to express it this way. Does anybody have any questions? I'm going to stop sharing there for a moment about that. Anything you want to share? Or I stunned you all into silence. Just raise your hand if you want to ask anything at that point or share anything. Heather, do you want to go first?
Yeah, thank you. No, it's just what you sounded like. It sounds like we're kind of vehicles through which then consciousness expresses itself.
Yes.
In...
Do you want to respond to that? Say more?
Yes. Oh, to me, do I?
Do you need to say any more?
No.
Okay. The awareness there, Heather, is accurate. And that's great news. The body-mind experience is a vehicle of life, from life, to life, through life, to come to know itself. I've got more on this later, by the way, to come to know itself in its own experience. And without the expression in your form, the universe would not be complete. That's how important your form is. And without this expression, the myriad expressions, Heather, Christine, Stefan, Lewis, whatever, there would only be stars, galaxies. There'd only be, without all these expressions, there'd only be silence, absolute. And so this expression is very, very important. Is that okay for you for now, Heather?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's a big thing.
Big stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm conscious we're fairly limited for time today, so I'll move on fairly quickly. I think, was it Marthese next. I hope I've got your name right there, Marthese.
Hi, yes, you did. Hi, everyone. I was thinking as I was listening to your calling. That was very interesting. I had goosebumps coming up. Is that something related heavily with your intuition, though, as well? Not just the universe calling to express yourself in that way.
Is it similar to having an intuition? Yes, is the short answer to that, Martes. It's um, because where does that which we call intuition come from? And it comes from within. It comes from
Mm.
a universal state of consciousness. So we've all had intuitive type experiences, a sort of knowing that something's about to be happen, or you know a piece of information or have some insight about something, then this is the same. It's coming from the same fundamental source that's not personal. Excuse me a moment.
Yeah, interesting, because sometimes I don't know if there's a overlap or a misunderstanding with these terms that we use. And I am not sure whether I don't want to project anything. I want to make sure it's a inner knowing.
Mm.
And this is why I'm here to get more clarification of a way forward in life.
Sure. So this is a really that's a really important point you're bringing out there, Martes, because making the distinction between where this is coming from, an inner
No.
space versus that which the mind has come up with. Understanding, understanding this is actually fundamental to life itself, to realizing inner peace and self-realization. And very briefly, I talk about this at length on a video that's in the app called Trust the Heart. Very briefly, the distinction between these two poles, the heart, the inner space, intuitive space, and mind is vast. With mind, it will feel like must, should, ought to,
Mhm.
contracting, forcing, these kinds of energies. The inner knowing, the intuition feels light, uplifting, inspiring, goosebumps. You're
Mm.
that's a inner confirmation, often surprising as well, often surprising. Is that okay for you for now, Martin?
Very interesting. I'm very happy with that. Thank you.
Good, you're welcome. I think there was another hand up. Was it Christine?
Yeah, hiya Philip.
Hiya, Christine.
I took my hand down actually because
Oh, sorry.
all right, it's because I just kind of wanted to go a little bit more deeply into what was coming up. It was when you mentioned about Einstein because this has
Yeah,
fascinated me. It's always fascinated me, this theory of relativity. And I think that the fact that he hadn't sort of like worked all this out, but yet he'd been able to transfer it into presumably into scientific formula as it were, as to how it could come about or came about or whatever. But yet he knew it intuitively, he saw it intuitively without kind
exactly.
of sitting down and say, oh yeah, this is this and this is this and this connects to this, and that just blows me away. It blows me away because I know that we can do this,
Yes,
but for human purposes, as it were, and for scientific purposes, it had to be written down.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Or it's just, yeah, just going to sit more deeply with that and all
okay.
connectivity as well because I, it's just come to me that when I was a little girl, when I was a really little girl, my favourite pastime was doing dot to dot, join
Joining
dot.
dots.
joining the dots together. That was my favourite pastime. It's all I wanted to do. Yeah. So I'll leave it there, Philip.
Okay, that's fine. So joining the dots, exactly. Joining the dots of life, following the breadcrumbs, to use Lee's little insights that she had a few years back. We're here to join the dots. The dots, exactly. But basically, if you read any, because I came from a scientific background, Einstein describes the knowing that came to him it came from a thought, what he called a thought experiment, actually. I would call it an awareness experiment because that's in a higher state, but that's what he meant. It was an and this realization then emerged. So let's just leave it at that for now. We've covered that. I think there were just the 3 questions that I saw there, unless there's anything really burning. What I'd like to do now is just take things a little bit further, because we are fairly tight on time today. I want to share a video that some of you have seen before, but this video captures the essence of self-realization, and really kind of pay attention to this. And the beautiful music in this one isn't Tara's on this occasion. It's actually Blossom, who couldn't be with us. She's in Australia. So just bear with me a moment. In Sanskrit, Satguru comes from Sat, meaning true, and Guru translating as master over darkness to light. The truth dispels the darkness to reveal light. Infinite silence is truth. It is within. It dispels the darkness of the case of mistaken identity. The light of awareness is realized. In you, through you, as you. You came here for peace, inner peace, lasting peace, nothing greater, nothing less. An unfathomable journey across space, time, yet here you are now. Elusive it has felt, some rocky roads and indiscernible paths. Suffering. When will it end? What is my purpose? What is the meaning of life? My life. There is news of great joy. Life is its own purpose, its own meaning, and you are it. Mistaken. A case of mistaken identity. Truth hidden in plain sight. Insight. It is peace that you seek. Silence is the answer. Infinite silence. The rarefied atmosphere of silence. Life is like a dance. It is a living meditation.
The peace that I felt today was just absolutely beautiful, and it just helps me see how much I've grown through that space as well.
Let the silence lead. Truth and peace will be realized. Events. emotions, feelings, sensations, they come, they go. Fleeting, stormy, constantly changing, uncontrollable.
When we were doing a workshop on the ego and having an awareness of, my goodness, how much it does come into your life and control you. And it was just the insight that, and some of the things that Philip was just explaining. The latest one for me is that I've always thought you had to meditate, and not always thought, that's changed, but you had to meditate and actually go to the silence. You don't. Silence is here. It's just everywhere.
What is it that is witness to all this, that sees and reports the changing weather? It cannot be the weather itself. It is, my friend, awareness. Is this awareness affected by the weather? No. Then what is this awareness? It is one with silence. It is your truth. Simple, profound, life-transforming, infinite silence, peace, you. Invitation. Which will you choose? Resolution or realization? Self-realization is the highest resolution. Will you follow the call? truthdarknesslight.org, dedicated to the realization of truth. I wanted to share that because I know I've shared it before for some of you, but it's a really important messages, insights in that video. And it's titled, really self-explanatory. You're here for peace. You're here for peace. And at one point in there, there's two questions asked. And just be with these for a few moments now. What is it that is aware of? Who or what is it that is aware of? In the video, I call it the changing weather. That's the stormy emotions, the experiences of life, all the things that go on in life. What is it that is aware of that? Don't try and answer that mentally. Just be with that. Who or what is it that is aware of that? And secondly, is that which is aware in any way affected by the weather? And I don't mean the physical weather, I mean the emotions, the thoughts, the feelings, the sensations, the things that are happening in life. Is that which is aware in any way affected by that? The essence of self-realization, non-duality, is the resolution of those two questions. And it's not something that Philip will teach you. It will be realized. And the realization is going to reveal that it is that the perfume of your essence, awareness of infinite silence, is that which is aware. It's always here, no matter what's going on. And most profoundly, most importantly, is that actually it is completely unaffected, always completely unaffected, unblemished, untouched, unmoved by the appearances in life, no matter what they are and on what scale they are. So why are we here in life? It's to realize this. It is to realize this. To experientially realize this. Not as just some mental concept that sounds right, but for it to become unequivocally clear in your form. In your form. And yet you will see that this essence is not personal in any way. It's universal. And yet your form is still here. And you can be in this world. This is a biblical quote now, but not of it. That's what that means, to be in this world, but not of it. And so that the gift of experience is emerging. But those questions, who or what is aware of whatever's here now? And is that which is aware affected by whatever appears? Those are the fundamental inquiries and questions that will lead to this. Every other inquiry really boils down to that. Another way of summarizing it is who or what am I? Who or what am I? Does anybody want to ask any questions about that? Okay, Marthese, go on.
Hi, I've been living in solitude. I lost my husband last year,
Sorry to hear that.
and it's really been very, very intuitive that pausing and listening to my silence, I can relate to what you're saying. And it's very empowering, as I wrote to one of my messages. And really, living in the here and now is exactly what we are, the awareness. And that has really softened my path and the grieving side of life, and trying to escalate my path in a more happier and joyful and peaceful way of life. Obviously, we all got trials and tribulations. I'm trying to actually overcome all that through living the Tao way, the Wu Wei way, and it's been very rewarding and very encouraging to make a less stressful way of life for me.
Right.
I'm sure other people has experienced that as well. So our awareness is being right in the here and now moment, because it's so unique. It's so fleeting that this is all we are,
Absolutely.
appreciate what we have right now, because it's gonna change again, it's everything is impermanent.
Indeed. So that leads us to a very important point, that you used a word there, impermanent. Everything is impermanent. And what that points to, and this is something that's easily misunderstood, is that It's the thingness, the manifestations, which includes your body-mind experience, that are impermanent, and that includes stars, galaxies. Yet there is a permanence. There is a permanence in which it appears in. And that is the infinite silence. And in the same way that you cannot have sound, like you can hear my voice now, without the backdrop of silence for it to contrast against. Thus is the universe. Thus is the universe. You cannot have phenomena, space, time, contrast without the backdrop of this infinite silence. So it's that you will realize. I think Marthese has had to deal with something else, so I'll come back to that in a moment. Has anybody else got any questions? Anything they want to share? Okay, so what I'll cover is just a few things that were on those final slides. I had a nice little slide I was going to show you, but the essence of it, and I can include it in the recording, is a graphic that essentially shows the infinite on the backdrop of the universe, manifesting as the finite, for example, our body-mind experience, but then looping back to recognize itself as the infinite. And the infinite and the finite are one indivisible whole. This is another way of expressing Einstein's theory of relativity. So it's the infinite manifesting as the finite, your body-mind experience, and then by virtue of its own nature coming to recognize, coming to know itself in its own experience. And ultimately, that's why you are here. And that's what the book, the app, and so forth seek to address very, very directly in a guided journey, if you like. So that was one of the slides that I was going to share. And I was going to ask the question, and this relates to Marthese's question also that was shared a few moments ago. Just close your eyes for a moment and ask the question inside. What is here now that never changes? What is here now that never changes? When time's right for you, you can just open your eyes. Unfortunately, as if by some magic, I've managed to get the slide to appear. Did anybody get anything? As you asked that question, what is here that never changes? Is anybody? And even if you didn't, don't worry. It will come. It will come. Because as I'm showing here on this slide, essentially the essence will boil down to there is this backdrop of infinite silence, or the awareness of infinite silence, that manifests itself as many and varied experiences as shown on the right and the background of the physical universe here. But its ultimate purpose is to come to know itself. Because without this cycle that's happening here now, and it's all here now, there would be no experience at all. There would only be silence, absolute. And hence the title, The Universe Comes to Know Itself in Its Own Experience. Anybody got any questions before I move on? Can't see any hands up at the moment. Oh, yes, I can. Marthese.
Hi, sorry, it's me again. Sorry, I had to leave. I had someone at the door. Sorry, I
No
didn't
worries.
ignore your reply, and I thank you for that. The last exercise, what you just asked us, the soul never changes, right? It's always here, and then it moves to another dimension. So is that one of your answers?
It is, essentially. So I'll just clarify a little bit though, Marthese, for you. So you're right in saying the soul never changes. The bit that perhaps can be a misunderstanding about what we call the soul is that people tend to personalize it. And there's undoubtedly the unique experience of Marthese here.
Mm.
I'm not saying that's not the case. In fact, it's very profoundly important that that's here. But really, the soul, when I speak of the soul and the book, The Living Soul, the title of the book, is that the entirety of it all is what the soul is. And then it chooses to have contrast and experience is in many subdivisions. So these might be sub-souls, if you like. But when I'm speaking of the term soul, it is unchanging, unmoving awareness of, or infinite silence. Does that help you, Marthese?
Yes, very much. Thank you.
Okay,
Very interesting.
good. And then I do, now that we've got the slideshow working again, just want to just mention this to you. One of the things that's been made clear to me, many of you know are users of the app, but everything that I've endeavored to share or been called to share is perhaps a better word over the last 14 years has come from within. I wouldn't claim perfection on that, but the book and the app were callings from the silence. And what was made clear in a similarly meditative way is those words at the center there. They're marriage partners. So some of you are members of the apps, some of you may not be yet. The book, one of the things, the very few books that I did read, I think it was about 3, one of the things that I often wondered is where does one go from here? And the silence has made it clear that for many people, if they're open to it, the place to go is the app. This doesn't mean you need to read the book before you go to the app. It's just that it sees them from within. This isn't Philip's idea that they are marriage partners. And I just want to share a couple more things with you that most of you will be familiar with this because you're app members. But if you're not, and you're watching this afterwards on the replay or whatever, this little code here, top left, pre-40, this QR code will take you there. if you can't photocopy that or whatever off your phone right now, you can get to that from my website. And that code, if you use it from the website, not from the app stores, would give you a 40% discount on the app membership, yearly or lifetime. It's not much use for the monthly one because it only works once. So this is an offer that I'm making to anybody that sees this. And then finally, I just wanted to leave you. I've fortunately been blessed to have many people who have been willing to read and review the book. This is one of them, a lady called Marianne Miller. So just stop that share. It is now exactly 12 noon. How good is that? Despite all the technical glitches that we experienced. Thank you for staying with us. Any final questions that are bursting for anybody? I can't see anything at the moment. Thank you so much for being here. It was short and sweet today. Sorry about the little technological glitches. So thank you so much. Just to say, finally, that this weekend on Insight Timer, the lady Blossom, who played the piano music for the video, once we got that to work, is called Blossom Violet. She lives in Australia. She is of Chinese background and plays the piano intuitively. She found my sharing on Insight Timer back in 2022. And to say it was transformative for her would be an understatement. And ever since that, and really led her to playing the piano as a live on Insight Timer. She was a trained pianist way back, but hadn't played for 37 years. And so she'd said when that transpired that we must do a joint live together. We talked about that. That's going to happen this weekend at 7 p.m. on Saturday night. So instead of going out for Saturday night at the movies, you might want to join us for a 2-hour session. And that session is really about from trauma to inspiration. And it's going to explore Blossom's journey. English is not her first language, so she's asked me to sort of kind of offer some insight on that. So we'll be exploring some key questions. She will share her journey, and I'll be offering some further insight. And as added bonuses, you will get some, much as Tara plays the harp intuitively, Blossom will play the piano intuitively as part of that. It's beautiful music. That piece that you heard in the video, I just said, this is the text of the verse. Can you create some music to go with it? And it just came to her. And that's how it's created. So she'll be doing that live. And I will be guiding an infinite silence meditation as well. So you're going to really see the impact of opening to this in a real life example. Then do join that live. It's on Insight Timer. If you're coming, you don't need to pay anything to join that. If you're coming from a laptop, use a Chrome browser. Use a Chrome browser. And I think Stefan's probably kindly put the link in there for you to join. You may have to register as a guest if you're not a member of the Insight Timer app. You can watch it on your phone, but it's a much better experience on the laptop. So that's at Saturday night, 7 p.m. The exploration of from trauma to inspiration. You're welcome to join that. And then as far as the app's concerned, the next community call will be on the second Wednesday, 8 p.m. UK time. So that's me done. Thank you so much for being here. I hope it's been useful for you in some way. There'll be another of these next month. I may shift the time slightly because I didn't really sort of think that through properly when it first came to me. But 11 a.m., whilst it's a good time for people in the UK, may not be if you're in the West Coast of America. So I might shift it a few hours So look out for that, but it'll be on this exactly the same link. And it's the penultimate Thursday of any month. That's it from me. Thank you very much, folks. Thank you for being here. Hope it's been useful.
Philip.
Yes.
Sorry, I meant to write there about Blossom. She's a good friend of mine, and I remember her journey with you on Insight Timer. She's an amazing pianist.
She is.
She even improvised something for my husband when he passed, and I was so touched. And she sent me the recording, and she did it live on Insight Timer for me. She's so good, so blessed that I know her, and I'm still in touch with her now.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear that. So hopefully we'll see you on Saturday night.
Hopefully I'll join you. Yeah.
I cannot overstate the power of Blossom's piano playing. It's like Tara's harp. It's just unbelievable.
It is. And thanks to you as well. You made her get there. Thank you so much.
Okay. See you, folks. Bye-bye now.